All right. Welcome to the Games Under Grace podcast. I'm your host, Sam, and with me I have the boys. Derek, Malachi, and David. Say hi, guys.
The boys.
Hello.
Hello.
And once again, we are a video game podcast, and we're all incidentally writers for the Geeks Under Grace website, uh, which also has their own podcast. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. It's not too hard to find. So you guys are finding this one. But yeah, basically the website it pretty much covers everything related to geek culture from a Christ-like perspective. So if you need that sort of point of view with anything that you buy, go right ahead and check us out over there. And basically, how this goes, I don't know if it's, I don't know if I should even bother explaining the format at this point. It could change pretty soon, but yeah, we basically just go over like anything that we've done with video games. Go over some news, which there is quite a bit of news this week for sure, and then also just end it off with a discussion by one of us. And we're also actually open for Q&A as well. So if you like this podcast, go ahead and leave us a question at my personal Twitter, at skimlives, all one word. And yeah, that's basically it. David, why don't you start off? What have you been up to?
I've been up to playing a lot of Stardew Valley because the new update came out last week and it's amazing. And I've also been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake and a little bit of Valheim.
What's Valheim? Yeah, this game.
A Norse mythology inspired survival RPG. It plays with the mythology a lot, and it has this 10th world, which is it's where I guess dead warriors go if they don't make it to Valhalla, and they have to slay I think 9 monsters to get to Valhalla.
So this is like Nordic Purgatory?
Yeah, I guess.
Interesting.
I've played it for a few hours and I've made very little progress. I've mainly just spent the time building a little house for myself.
That sounds like progress to me.
Yeah.
I mean, in Animal Crossing, that's a big deal.
Yeah. That's true.
Now, this game don't have loans in Valhalla, though, so... This game is getting, like, seriously hyped. I don't know if your initial impression, like, did you kind of buy into that? Were you, like, worried that the game was going to meet expectations or exceed expectations, or were you able to kind of avoid all the whatever the internet has decided about this game?
I haven't heard that much about it, but I do know it's kind of blowing up and it's still in early access, so that's impressive. It's had over 3 million people, so that's not not a small thing. But you can tell it's in early access. The close-up graphics are still pretty rough. The far-off things, though, are really good and kind of Xenoblade reminiscent.
Yeah.
You also mentioned. Go ahead, Sam. You got comments about Valheim?
Well, honestly, no, because I didn't even hear about this. Except like, I was listening to a podcast and someone on that mentioned it in passing. The only impression I got of it is like it's. I guess it's similar to something like what's that game? 7 Days to Die. Is that right?
I heard of that.
I've never heard of that one.
Did I get the title right?
I think it goes by a different name, but I'm pretty sure I know what game you're talking about.
Yeah, it is called 7 Days to Die.
Okay, I'm wrong.
But that's like a zombie game. Yeah, but is it mainly like a survival game? I suppose something like Ark or anything like that?
I'm not sure because I've never played Ark, but you do have to eat food. You get status effects for things like stamina if you're wet. If you've been swimming, stamina will regenerate slowly. And right before the podcast, I was flattened by a troll. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some days. Let us know how it keeps going, because it's kind of interesting. Maybe I'm just out of touch, but that was one of those things that like I didn't see coming until I started hearing about it. But it seems right up my alley, honestly. People seem to be really fascinated with Norse culture recently, and I guess like a multiplayer game was kind of inevitable.
Anything Norse related is right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
My knowledge is more tabletop, but it seems like these themes come in waves, right? Everybody wants to do Norse for a while, and everybody wants to do vampires because Twilight came out or whatever, and everybody wants to do dragons, and then
zombies were a big thing for a while too.
Yeah. So I mean, it almost seems more driven by TV and movies, right? Twilight comes out, everybody wants to do zombies. Walking Dead comes out, everybody. I said the wrong thing. Twilight, vampires.
Yeah, either way, it's
Walking
fine.
Dead, zombies. I do want to make a comment about FF7 remake that has nothing to do with anything other than Drew Feisner is playing it too. In the chat today, he said, "I just got to meet Aerith, and she's so wholesome." And I just wanted to be like, sorry, spoiler for the audience here. I just want to be like, she says the sh word, she's not so wholesome, because that threw me for a loop when she said it, and I cracked up. And that's like the thing I remember from the whole thing is just her cussing one time. She's not so wholesome.
So spoilers. Aerith is a potty mouth. I almost said Zelda.
That Eric says swear words. Aerith and Eric
has a moment of impurity.
You might as well make the game rated M at this rate.
Actually, it's kind of weird because like if I remember correctly, it's not so much that like Aerith is pure-hearted. It's more just like she's just more outgoing compared to Tifa. And for the longest time, I thought it was the other way around, actually.
Yeah, they play Aerith like this, like the demure character, and she's really much more outgoing, I feel like, in this script. But
oh no, I meant the original, actually.
In the original, you think Aerith is more outgoing?
Well, that like I started playing I think the PC version of Final Fantasy VII, like, oh goodness, like a year back. I really do need to get back to that, because I was liking what I was playing so far, but the impression I always had was that Tifa was like the more happy-go-lucky character, although it may be possible because that my view of that, it was skewed by watching the Advent Children movie, where she is kind of like that, but according to people at the time, it wasn't really in character for her to be that way. Like, she was the more quiet type, which was interesting to me. I was like, oh, okay. That's all I really have. I don't really know much about Final Fantasy VII, honestly, other than the obvious spoiler and some key parts in the story.
It's been a long time, but I do think maybe David's probably played the original more recently than anybody. But I feel like in the new script, they did make Tifa a little bit more, not damsel in distress, but like concerned about, like worried about how things are going in her life and her involvement in Avalanche. And then Aerith, I feel like, is more outgoing than in the previous script. Do you agree with that, David?
I agree with the Tifa part. Aerith seems pretty much the same, though. In the original, she still says that Cloud's payment can be a date, so...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she is kind of flirty in the original. And then this one, I just keep thinking about that scene where she goes, "Don't fall in love with me, okay?" And I'm like, "I won't, you swore. And you ruined the image."
Yeah. Except now it seems like Jesse's getting more into that action now, too, so...
Yeah. Can I go next? Because I have a good segue from here.
Okay.
Knock yourself out.
Okay, so there's a scene also. You know how there's like the anime games are just really big on the harem trope. Like you're in love with 11 girls and you get to pick which one you want to do at the end. Not do. Rewind that.
Depends what game you're playing.
Which, yeah, that's true.
Should I cut that?
Nah, you can leave
No,
it.
it's
Okay.
fine.
It was yeah. We can all LOL at that.
Okay.
But like Trails of Cold Steel does this real bad. Spoilers again. But it frustrates me. But there's a scene again, spoilers, I guess. But there's a scene in FF7R where like Aerith and Tifa like each have an arm on Cloud, and I'm just like, guys, no, it's a much better story if you actually give us like a legitimate love story. And I bring that up because I am finally at the final dungeon, not the final dungeon, not the final dungeon, the final dungeon in Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus.
Way to go.
And I was hoping to beat it, but I didn't. That's the problem with playing JRPGs is that when we have a podcast and it's like, what have you been playing? Same thing as the last 3 weeks because these games are freaking long. But I appreciated it has kind of a very similar bonding system to the Trails series, and I just did a bunch of final bonding scenes with almost all the female characters, and it seems I'll have to see how the ending goes. And again, spoilers, but nobody cares about this game, so it's fine. But it feels like they're headed towards like having a main love interest rather than none of the bonding scenes were like, I love you and I love you and I love you and everybody loves you and I was able to do all of them and it seemed like more focused on a single female character for the main character, and I was so enthused about that because the thing I hate the most about the Trail series is this transition from a great female lead and a great love story towards this harem trope crap that I could do without.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, David, are you still playing Trails in the Sky, or did you get distracted by everything else?
I am playing it slowly. I've done maybe 10 or 15 minutes this past couple of weeks.
I'm gonna check in 10 years if you finished it.
There you go.
And then you'll find out. And then you'll find out there's a second one and a third one. And the other game
I've already got those on my wish list.
Okay, good. The other game I played this week was I picked up Super Mario 3D World because I never had a Wii U.
And I've been wanting to play that game actually. It's really good.
My wife and I played through on co-op the new Super Mario Brothers. I forget what there was the one on Wii was just called New Super Mario Brothers Wii, I think, and then we did the new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe or whatever it was for that got ported to Switch. And so those are both 2D, and so I was a little worried how much more annoying it was going to be with the camera. But as far as I can tell so far, we beat the first world, and it really seems like the game doesn't really let you touch the camera. Like it's introduced the camera a little bit, and it's kind of like, hey, here's how you move it. But then it like in the stages so far, it puts a big X over it. And it's like, no, you're not ready to move the camera. So that's actually been good because I was afraid that it would just be a really frustrating situation where one player is in control of the camera. And I'm kind of shocked it's worked as well as it has. It doesn't seem. I remember Maurice, who's a bit of a Mario and platforming in general aficionado, saying this wasn't as good as the other ones. I don't really care because to me it seems like Mario games are not that distinguishable from one to the next to me. I mean, you have categories, right? You have the 2D classics and then you have the 3D ones, and this is kind of sort of in the middle. But I kind of feel like Mario is Mario, and if my wife is actually going to sit and play a video game with me, then let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I have words about that, but that's a long digression. We could talk about Mario games for probably an entire podcast, honestly.
We could
probably talk about that on a separate podcast.
Just Mario?
Just Mario? Yeah, like forget platformers in general. We could do one just on Mario. Even Malachi, if I haven't played all the 3D ones. So,
give me your one-line hot take, Malachi.
My one-line hot take?
Yes.
My one-line hot take is that for one reason or another, whatever Mario teams develop the 2D Mario games tend to miss a lot of the creativity that goes into 3D. And I think it's because they feel like they're more restricted to 2D, more restricted in that aspect of it. So I kind of like see a return more to something like Paper Mario, in which I don't know. The older games don't. The new Mario series, new Super Mario Brothers series, doesn't necessarily feel as creative to me as like 3D Land, Odyssey, Galaxy, etc. Because it feels like there's less of a theme that ties them together in terms of which way they develop outwards for levels. But I would agree with you that they didn't really feel very similar.
I don't disagree with you, but I have two comments. One is that the newest Paper Mario's creativity shot itself in the foot. The other comment is that I eat peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day, so I don't care that it's not creative.
Understandable. Teach their own.
Malachi, what have you been playing?
So I've been without power for nearly a week, but before that, I played some games. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I live in Houston, and we were hit really hard by Winter Storm Uri,
Oh boy.
which was kind of fun. I didn't realize it had a name until I got some alerts in my Google Maps, and I was like, that means I have someone to curse now. I can yell at Uri now. I guess I feel good about that. But yeah, I went for nearly 48 hours with no power, and since then, or at least 48 hours, and then since then it was kind of in and out in short bursts. And so I had a moment I was like commiserating with people in the Geeks Under Grace group chat because I had an urge to replay Fallout New Vegas. I don't remember why. Oh yeah, it was because the Houston skyline was all like only the skyline was lit up and all the rest of it was dark. So it looked like the Vegas Strip from Fallout New Vegas.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh, I should go replay that. And then I was like, oh, I don't have power because if you look at that picture, I'm over here in the Shadowlands where there's no power.
Oh goodness.
But before that, it's not all doom and gloom. Before that, I mean, I got back into Smash a little bit, just kind of to prepare, I guess, for the new fighter, and also try out some old mains and hang out with little friends, and that was fun. Before that, I kind of hopped around. I'm still on backlog golf. I'm just having to be a little more forgiving toward myself, because I've beaten one game this year, and every other game has been kind of a bust trying to start them. I played through 8 levels of Cluster Truck and started seeing trucks in my nightmares because that game is so... It's good. It's just repetitive, and I needed a break from it.
Mm.
So I tried picking up not Shovel Knight, Hollow Knight, and it's really pretty looking, and I liked it. But I also got lost really quickly, and I just didn't have the patience for it. So it's going to come back to that one later. I also had Metal Wolf Chaos, which is fun, and I thought was going to be a weird little jaunt through a badly dubbed classic Japanese game about what they think Americans are. And somehow, I managed at a point during the first level outside of the prologue where I consistently run out of ammo before I hit the end of the level and can't beat it because of that.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm just too trigger happy, or it's a weird problem. I haven't had that issue in a game in a while. It's not like my difficulty's too high.
Okay. It's been a while since I played that game. What guns are you using?
So I use the shotgun, the like machine gun AR type thing, the Uzi type gun, the bazooka, and the sniper rifle.
Okay. Do you have them equipped all to one arm, or like how do they look to
Like,
both arms? Sorry,
spread out.
sorry, just real quick. For context for Derek and David, in Metal Wolf Chaos, you can actually equip guns to both sides of Metal Wolf, and I think it's like a max of like, I don't know, like maybe 6 guns altogether, so 3 guns per side.
It's actually kind of cool. I wish more games would do that, and then you can mix and match. So one arm will fire like machine gun fire, the other one will fire bazooka, shotguns, etc. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, because I'm trying to recall, like, I know I've run into that issue with running out of ammo, but I can't. I honestly can't recall if you can pick up more ammo. I feel like you should be able to.
You can, but I've played the first level so many times that I've memorized there's one ammo pickup in the entirety of the first level.
Right.
It's for heavy ammo.
Yeah, I know there's limited ammo. I know that's a thing.
It felt weird because I felt like it's supposed to be a power fantasy. You play as the president of the United States, where the vice president has attempted a coup, which felt a little situational. That would never happen in the U.S. I'm just kidding. And he succeeds in the coup, and you have to get your mech out and then fight the U.S. Army and then try to win back America. It's a wonderful little power fantasy full of great lines.
My
personal favorite is I'll smash you harder than Florida recount. I like that one.
Yeah.
You got to give us a minute to ingest all this.
It's a lot.
I'll crush you harder than the Florida recount. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the dubbing is so bad. I'm pretty sure their actors reading lines are reading lines phonetically or something.
Well,
they'll frequently get cut off in the middle of lines. Like I had one actress that was like, "Mr. President, I need you to," and it just stops, and I'm like, "It's not part of the script. There's subtitles that goes on." Okay, that's done, I guess.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. You must have come across this part. Oh no, wait. Uh okay, no. I don't want to spoil it because all the dialogue is just pure gold, but I just love, like always, I just love that intro where
So good.
the White House is getting attacked, and then Michael just comes out in his mech and goes, "Okay, let's party." It's such a weird inflection, like
Every line is pronounced like they don't know what
like,
it actually means.
like it sounds like it's more of a question rather than an exclamation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that.
They didn't release it in America. Fun fact,
Yeah.
I believe this is correct, because they were worried Americans would be too offended by its portrayal of Americans. But ironically, I think Americans would love it more because there's no sense of irony here. If you make a game about the president having a giant mech and having to use all of its guns to take back the country, that's amazing. We love that.
I think it's pretty on the nose anyway, because I don't think subtlety is the name of the game for Melville Chaos anyway.
It's not. What
But
were you
yeah.
going to say, Derek?
Is this on PS4 or on PC?
It's on PS4. I believe there's a PC version of it.
Yeah,
at least on the original Xbox originally, and then this is XD is a remastered version of it. That finally released on in the US, as you used to be able to have to just like the dialogue's always been in English. It's still the original recorded dialogue, but the original game had full Japanese text and I guess just Japanese subtitles. So
yeah, like it's basically like a Resident Evil 1 situation where they hired, like they outsourced English actors. But I think in this case it's just like whoever they got did speak English, but or well, you know what it really is? It's probably just like
the lines are probably written oddly.
The voice director probably just told them, no, say it this way, actually. Like that's probably more true than anything. But yeah, I mean, Melwolf Chaos, it's like honestly, I think it's a really fun experience, even though I would say the gameplay isn't exactly stellar. It's decent enough to to go through, but you're really there just to experience the dialogue and the cutscenes. Really,
it looks amazing.
Yeah,
it's so good. Watch yourself like some highlight videos or something, and that'll give you just a little taste of the dialogue.
I was gonna say if it was on PC, just to download a save file that's past where you're at. But are there no difficulty settings you can change? Because I'm easy for life over here.
I might bump the difficulty settings down. It just became like I expected it to be a breezy playthrough, and it became
it's not. That's the other thing.
It feels old school hard, but not in the not quite like the Nintendo. Because early Xbox.
See, that's the thing. Like, if I remember correctly, Melwolf Chaos was a launch title for the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. During that time, that was like that really distinct
experimental
transitional period where it's like, okay, how hard should we make 3D, like these newer 3D games now? And it was basically just like, I don't know, I guess we'll just do it like we always have and not really account for anything else. So it's like it's not just the fact that Melwolf Chaos is just this very interesting diamond in the rough. It also belongs in that time period where like developers just didn't really know what to do with 3D games still. Like we were starting to get there, but it's still just like what is the difficulty curve, and it just goes all over the place.
I'm surprised if they got easier after this level, and that's just a weird fluke they have in the first level where there's not enough ammo.
Oh, don't worry. There are tougher missions after that. So
okay. That's why I'm playing a different game now, so I'll get back to it, but I ended up kind of settling on Celeste, which is not an easier game. I was telling Derek, I was like, I don't know why I have a poor selection of games that are uniquely hard to play. I'm just trying to get through my my little indie projects instead of my big AAA games. I'll get to those later. But I think I'm settling on Celeste because I am actually about halfway through the game now. It captured me really fast. Like everything about the music score to how it's put together to how the movement just it's buttery smooth to the point where like the platforming doesn't feel frustrating. Like hitboxes are on point. The characters move like I know. It is frustrating in a way, but it feels like I can succeed, and I can beat it in little chunks. Like I'll spend a whole lot of time on one screen, but then I'll beat it. I'll breeze through a little bit more, and then I'll hit checkpoint. I'm ready to pause for a bit. More importantly, I think it ties into a lot of the idea of like, I guess playing games that can help you like work through your current mood and setting. Because I mentioned I'm in a new city, not a whole lot of social life right now. Feel very isolated and dealing with a lot of very, I guess, adult challenges of being out on my own. Feels somewhat similar to Madeline, the main character of Celeste, being determined to conquer the mountain. Despite people telling her that she can't do that, that this is something that she's never been a mountain climber. Like this is something that she can't do, but she's determined to continue pushing forward, and also pushing past the isolation of climbing alone. Even like self-doubt and her own mental health, like that plays into it a lot. I was really surprised by a very touching scene in which one of the characters she meets helps her like recover from an anxiety attack by like she has panic attacks at different points in the story. They're mentioned, and he uses an actual grounding technique. Like he says, basically, like close your eyes and visualize a feather floating in front of you, and have your breaths be the things that slow the feather down and try to keep it steady. And then you actually do that in the game, and it was like really touching. And I was also like, I'm gonna keep that in the back of my head just in case, because I have friends that definitely have panic attacks. So it's gorgeous. I feel like it's a perfect balance of like it's challenging, but not enough to be frustrating. The Wolf Chaos was challenging enough to be frustrating, and I know where I'm going, so I don't have the issue of games where I just get frustrated because I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do. I'm excited to see where it goes because I've wanted to play Celeste for a long time, and I'm hopefully this will be one that I beat. Second game I beat this year. We shall see.
I think if I didn't have a backlog and I wasn't in a hurry to get other games played, I probably didn't give that game its due credit. I got almost through chapter 4, and I got a little frustrated with dying because I'm not good at platformers. But you can't really have that story without the difficulty.
Yeah.
So that's a game where we talked about before. I was kind of wish the easy mode wasn't there because I just kind of breezed through it and cheated, basically. But if it hadn't been there, I might have went back to it at some point and said, okay, I'm going to sit down and do this because it was really, like you said, the aesthetic, the story, everything else really is worth it. LJ felt like he had to defend himself a little bit because he gave the game a 10 out of 10 on the website, but I think it's one of those games where even if it's not my personal favorite, just from like a design point of view, I can't really argue that too much.
It's really good. I think actually does difficulty really well, both by having the assist mode available, but recommending that you play it in normal mode first. And also I think the strawberries and the B-sides, which are basically optional collectibles, are cool because they're just visible enough to where you can see them and be kind of tempted, like, oh, that's a collectible. They tell you straight up, they're like, you don't need to collect these. These are just if you want an extra challenge. And so you can find yourself in magical little areas where you can like do platforming challenges to collect these little strawberries. And I've collected a fair few of them, but I haven't felt like I needed to. And so it's just enough to like provide a little challenge for when you feel like it. And so I think it's really tastefully balanced, honestly. This one's the better balanced games I felt like in a while, and it's not all over the place either. So.
One other thing that I think is interesting about the design, can you name another platformer? Maybe I'm just blanking on something, but can you name another platformer that doesn't have enemies? I mean, you kind of do, but really you don't have a weapon. You don't jump on Goombas. Like, you don't have a sword. Like, you're just platforming.
You just think very often. I would think Thomas Was Alone is the only one I could think of, but that's just because I really like that game. So.
Well, I mean, I can think of a few off the bat, but they're kind of more like skill-based platformers, like Dust Force, Speedrunners, Super Meat Boy.
Truck.
Cluster Truck too.
Those are trucks. The trucks are the enemies.
But I mean, the whole point of those games is just like, you're trying to get good at like getting through the course as fast as possible.
Well, yeah, progression is different. I see what you're saying. They're different kinds of platformers. Mm-hmm. Celeste is narrative based and has different themes for its levels, but doesn't have enemies as much as it is Madeline's own self-doubts personified. But you don't actually physically fight that character, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at. Samuel, what about you? I think you haven't gone yet.
Yeah, so, first of all, I would say if you are looking for another game to kind of replace your mecha love for now, I guess.
Mobile Suit Gundam game.
I cover I previously covered a little game called Panzer Paladin. You can check out that review at geeksundergrace.com. Anyway,
Shameless plug.
yeah. Yeah, that game's pretty fun. I would call it essentially like a stripped down Castlevania in a way. Where like you basically just fight uh like 8 bosses, and you go through worlds. So that part of it is more Mega Man like, but the weapons are kind of important because there's a durability system in that game, and basically weapons can break, but that's actually a good thing because you can actually choose to manually break them, and you get like a special skill if you choose to do that. So some of it is like a special attack or a buff, um, and by defeating enemies, you can pick up new weapons along the way. So it's got this really interesting flow where you're kind of just like doing a little bit of micromanaging, um, as well as like somewhat Dark Souls like play, but more in like but more like balancing what items to use rather than like how to tackle on certain enemies. Uh, because that mechanic aside, the whole game essentially plays more like a traditional 2D platformer where you're basically just jumping and attacking, um, and then you do some slight platforming here and there. It's a pretty interesting case study, I suppose. If it was just like, what if you were try to make like an NES platformer for a more modern audience?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would be interesting for people to keep playing that game and stuff like that? It's a fun little game. Like, I wouldn't call it like a completely outstanding experience like Shovel Knight or something like that, but I will say it's definitely up there, um, with like one of those games that just it's just kind of like a feel good game, personally to me. But other than that, let me think. Uh, I've been playing some more Fantasy Star Online 2. Nothing new with that. Was kind of hoping I could get into the open beta for New Genesis, but no luck with that, unfortunately. I'm usually pretty good at getting those, but um, what else did I play? I did play Hades, actually last week, not so much this week. Got through my second run. That's about the most significant progress I can really say about that game. That's really about it. Um,
Hold on, I said I would make fun of Maurice for a minute about Hades.
yeah.
So Maurice has also been playing Hades this week, and I said I thought it was objectively a 10 out of 10 game. Maybe not my favorite game ever, but just like flawless design. He played it, he goes, 7 out of 10 game. Then he played it more, and he's like, okay, they nailed the story, maybe 8, 8.5, but overrated. And then today he was like, I gotta take a break. I played this game for 60 hours in like a week. Okay, I don't really usually play 8 out of 10 games for 60 hours in 1 week. I'm just saying.
Very in character, and yeah, I agree.
You're right. That is very Maurice.
I mean, I think if anything, it kind of sounded like he just got burnt out on that game, which definitely is possible. I mean, I'm kind of feeling it, honestly.
How many runs have you done?
Last I checked, I think my second completion marked 54 runs altogether.
Yikes! You guys got to play that easy mode.
And I mean, it's fine. I mean, like I was basically spacing out. I don't know, maybe like 2 3 hours. 2 3 hours, like every other day or so. Like over the last month, really. So I think I made fairly good progress. I mean, I'm not gonna say that game's easy or anything, but I felt like I made fairly good progress with every run. So I don't really feel bad about it, honestly.
On easy mode, I played about 25 hours and took me about 25 runs to beat it 10 times, and then I put it up, and I was happy. I was happy with that value proposition of that amount of time to get that far. I think if I'm well, because I was in easy mode. I think if I had played it straight, it would have taken me much longer, and I probably would have about 40 hours in and not having my 10th run yet, I'd have gotten real sick of it.
Yeah. Actually, I'm curious. Does the game allow you to turn up the heat in God mode?
It does, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
I did a little bit of that just for the rewards. I did like the traps one and like the time limit one, because the time limit when it pauses when you're like making decisions, so it's really not as bad as it looks.
Oh, okay. That's actually nice to know. Thank you. So yeah. I still haven't figured out what I actually played. Oh yeah. I'm not sure if I talked about Yuppie Psycho. Do you guys remember me talking about Yuppie Psycho?
I don't remember that now.
Okay.
It's not a name that sticks, so who knows?
Okay, so Yuppie Psycho, I guess is like another story-driven game. It's all in pixel art actually. What really surprised me when I loaded this game up was that it immediately started into a full pixel art animated cutscene, and right away I was like, okay, that's a good way to like get a check mark in my book. Like already I was like, that's awesome. I love that. It's really cool. Very weird. I think it's a horror game, but it's really hard to say because everyone's just kind of weird, including the character that you play as in that game. Yeah, I don't know. Like so far, the most I can say is that your character gets hired into this into like the most renowned company in the world, and it kind of seems to be like a conglomerate that may have just taken over the entire world. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of things in the dark, so I can't really say like what's actually true or not. Like at first I thought it was like, okay, maybe this is just all in my head, or this is like a metaphor for office work, maybe. But then I guess it's actually real. So I'm not sure. And I guess I signed. Oh, we lost David.
We had a dog show up in a second.
Yeah.
Oh, there's back. There's back. Keep going, Simon. I was listening.
Okay. I just want to make sure David's okay.
Yeah, it disconnected me. I was inactive.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, like, I signed a contract that seems to be like a deal with the devil type of contract. I'm not sure. There's a lot going on, and I'm still kind of confused about where the game's actually going. But
it's like the game is playing you.
Yeah, maybe it could be. I don't know. That's the thing. I will say it's intrigued me so far. I do want to get back to it, but unfortunately, I may not be able to. Which brings me to my next point. Continuing the silver case. I think I may have severely underestimated this game because, you know, I took a look at how long to beat, and it said like, you know, 40 to 50 hours or so, and I was like, okay, that's a little long, but it's a story-based game, and there are some bits of gameplay still, so it's understandable. And then I was looking up how like if there are any achievements that I could miss, and it's mostly because like there's an optional achievement that I got in a previous chapter, and apparently those are one of the missable ones. So I just wanted to check real quick to see like if the achievements mean anything, like if they're related to the actual story. And then I kind of realized, looking at while I was on chapter select as well. Oh, wait a minute. there are actually two parts to this game. So, the one side is transmitter, and that's essentially the main game, I guess, where you're playing your character and going through the events of and going through the events of the game. Meanwhile, there's placebo, which are actually like extra story cases that follow this other character that happen at the same time as transmitter. So I don't. So I actually have like, uh, I think a total of maybe 10 or 12 chapters where I thought it was only going to be like 5 or 6. So now I'm like, oh no, if I want to get this done, if I want to complete this game in time for March, I'm really going to have to hustle. Unfortunately, with my new job, I don't have a lot of time earlier on in the day, because I basically just have to go straight to bed once I get off work. And not to say that like I haven't been enjoying my time with it. I have been enjoying my time with it, but I'm just like, oh shoot, I might have to really hustle, which might mean I'll have to blitz through the game, which I don't really want to do that. But if I do want to do the review for March, then I might have to. I think what I may end up doing is do a fallback to one of my article ideas instead, because I do want to give Silvercase time, because there's a lot to take in. For example, I wasn't I was gonna play it last week, but unfortunately I put it off because I wanted to focus on other games. So this week I completed the second chapter, which is Spectrum, and in this chapter, you're basically investigating a suicide case, which I thought was this 14-year-old boy's best friend, but actually it wasn't. And that kind of threw me for a loop because I got super confused at like the last second, and then like reviewing a recording I did for the game, I was like, oh no, it is actually an older person. Okay, so I like severely misunderstood something, unfortunately. And so I said this game is weird, and I said like it's doing some things where it's like it's kind of acknowledging the supernatural, and then all of a sudden, like near the end of the chapter, it just threw me into 100-question trivia quiz, and I went, wait, are you serious? Like at first I thought it was just a joke and it was only going to be like maybe 10 questions or something, but no, I actually had to answer 100 questions.
Gosh.
And I did not get to have time. I did not get to have time to think on any of those questions either. I was on a time limit per question as well. So now I'm getting quizzed on random trivia from, not on like modern things, mind you, from things when the game first released. So it was stuff like when did the original PlayStation come out? In the 1996 Olympics, where was it held? I didn't know that question. I thought I did, and I felt really stupid. And then just to like throw you off, it throws in questions about the case itself, and some of them I'm just like, wait, what? And actually, that's how I learned some other points about the case that I may have missed, actually, because I probably didn't investigate everyone, actually. So now I'm like, oh wait, what? Oh wait, that's wrong. Oh, then it was something else, actually. So I was thrown for a loop. I could do nothing but just laugh at myself, the game, and the situation I was just in at that particular moment, where I'm literally speed running 100 questions, not even knowing if I was even right. It even asked me a Studio Ghibli question. What movie came out in 1995? And I did not know the answer to that. I thought it was Princess Mononoke, but apparently I was wrong. So yeah, I was not expecting that, and it's kind of like that's kind of something. That's kind of something like a lot more meta than I would have expected Suda51 to do. Because like, you know, in No More Heroes, he does insert some meta dialogue and stuff like that, but and I think there was some stuff in Travis Strikes Again as well. But like to just be thrown a questionnaire like just like that out of nowhere was crazy for me. And like it didn't even matter how many questions I got right, because at the end of it, the chief detective just says, in this world, results don't matter, conviction does. And you passed the quiz, man. Good job. And it gave me a thumbs up. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't know what to make of it. I guess I could say I'm still enjoying it. I'm just still really confused as to what's happening, honestly.
On the bright side, even if your review isn't ready by March, you've told me what I need to know.
That you need to study for this game.
I write tests. I don't take tests. I'm a professor. I already did my share.
You've taken enough tests.
Yes.
I now give them.
So
anyway,
you need to take more to stay on your game.
Create a game.
David makes a good point.
Create a game to give to your students to take tests.
By the way, a test for the podcast of failure. Before we get to the news, this is a segue to the news. Did we fail as a podcast? Did none of us play the Project Triangle Strategy demo? Did we all fail? Because I didn't get around to it.
I was going to, but I didn't either.
I'll play games in different shapes.
Yeah,
we are bad.
Derek, we're bad JRPG fans. What are we gonna do?
I'm honestly embarrassed. We should probably just stop recording.
Yeah, we should just stop recording here. Anyway, thanks for checking out the podcast.
Before we get into the news, can I mention one more thing?
Yes.
For it.
I forgot about another game I've been playing, but Derek reminded me when he mentioned anime games. On Friday, I also got Persona 4 Golden, and I've been playing that a bit.
On Steam?
Yeah.
Well, you don't own a Vita?
No, that's the one I never got.
No, be cool. Get a Vita and play it on the Vita. Get the original
All the cool
experience.
kids have Vitas now.
Get the original experience of a portable port. Anyway.
How well versed are you in Persona before you jumped into this, David?
I've played 20 or 30 hours of Persona 5, and that's a bit.
And that's just nothing to that game.
Right.
It's fine.
So, what do you think so far of this one?
It's good. It's crashed on me about 5 times, but I think that has to do with my monitor, not the game itself, because it's fine if I'm just using my laptop screen.
Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting.
When was the last time you played a game that didn't have bugs at all?
Never.
Bugs? What are bugs?
Features, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Last time I played Cyberpunk.
They're not bugs. They're. Oh wait, no, that's about microtransactions.
Did you give up, David, on Cyberpunk?
No, I just have had other things get in the way. I actually started playing it again yesterday.
I feel like you're playing too many games at once, man.
Definitely.
Oh no, I feel like there was something else. I did end up playing the updated demo for Bravely Default 2. Because
don't tell me a lot. Don't tell me a ton, because I'm reviewing it for the site.
Oh no, I'm just talking about the gameplay really, because like I forget exactly how Brave and Default work, and I forgot it's basically a way to stack extra turns for your characters, and it kind of just plays into like, okay, like do you want to give this character extra turns and sacrifice, like their next 3 turns or something like that. I think that's like the basis of what I'm getting, but I'm not sure. Derek, can you clarify
Yeah, that's
that for me?
accurate.
Okay.
It's if you've ever played the Cold Steel series, they have a break system that's kind of similar.
Okay.
But yeah, the idea is that when you, if I remember this right, I forget which one's which, but basically you can kind of sandbag turns, and then each. Now I'm talking about the Bravely Default and Octopath games. I haven't played the demo yet for BD2. But then when you are able to break a actually, I think I'm confusing Octopath and Bravely Default. But yeah, with Bravely Default, you sandbag some turns, and then later with the Brave Order, you can take several turns in a row. That's basically the concept. And then Octopath, they had a break system where you could take extra turns because your opponent was like stuck. I will say, I guess my memories are blurring for all 3 of those games, but they, and also this is the same dev who is doing Triangle Strategy, which is why I need to get on it. I feel like the 3 games they put out so far have been brilliant pieces of art with tears in them. Like if you can imagine a beautiful canvas with like one tiny just hole that kind of frustrates you, but it's still beautiful. Because all 3 games I feel like are some of the best JRPGs I've ever played. And they each have one glaring flaw. And I don't want to get into them too much because they're kind of spoilers for those games. But like I feel like if they can get a little bit of the experimentation out of their system, like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. They really should become one of Square's kind of like leading developers because other than those annoying one flaw each time, their games have been fantastic. So I'm trying actually to avoid Bravely Defaults. I didn't play I played the first demo, but not this new one because I kind of want to go in straight. And from what I read, it starts kind of in the middle of the game and so not the beginning. So I'm just wanting to go in cold. But I am going to be reviewing it for the site. It comes out Friday. I don't know how long it'll take me, but I know I'll have other games I'm playing wrapped up, so I'm hoping to commit a lot of time to it.
Okay. Oh, actually, before we go into the news, two more things actually. One, so for fun, I downloaded the Balan Wonderworld demo. The new Sega game being directed by Yuji Naka. Oh boy, I had a lot of fun with that demo, and not in the way you're probably thinking. It so it's one of those things where you're just like, um, I think I've gotten to the point in my life where whenever I play whenever I play games, whether they're good or bad, I find a way to have fun with them, and just enjoy my time just rather than just be annoyed. And who boy, if Balan Wonderworld, if that demo is supposed to be the representation of how that game will perform when it comes out, I think a lot of people are going to be sorely disappointed, or rather, getting what they expected from that game, because oh boy, that game does not perform well at all. At least on the Switch. I guess with any luck, if that game is going to be coming out on other ports, hopefully it looks better. But on the Switch, it looks awful. Just awful. Like that overworld hub, where you enter different levels. It's like the 3D render just broke, and it doesn't render the textures correctly at all. Everything looks like mush. The frame rate is horrible. I'm pretty sure it's not even hitting 24 frames per second, just judging by eye. Everything feels flat. There's like a lack of how do I even describe it? like it just feels like they came out with an alpha version and then just threw that onto the store or something. Like this game in no way feels like it's ready to come out yet, and it's coming out at the end of March, which is crazy to me. I will say though, if you want a fun laugh, at least for free, go download the Battleland Wonderworld demo and just cry laughing at what a wonderful world that game is.
Like a good time.
Oh, it was a great time. I like Battleland Wonderworld, easily my top 5 of 2021 for sure. So anyway, on that fun note, one last thing, and this isn't so much something on my end, but just a PSA in general. Now, I know there are a lot of people who are very excited about Kingdom Hearts coming to PC. What I am going to say right now is do not buy any of those games on the Epic Games Store. That is a ripoff. 100%. 200%. 1000% a ripoff. There is no reason for you to pay that much, even if you're a fan.
How much?
$60 for every release. Full.
By every, you mean each one is $60?
Yes, I mean Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 remix, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory are all $60 a piece.
Not a good combo right there.
No, it is not. It's probably one of the worst deals ever. And I'm gonna say, this is probably some really bizarre decision to test the waters, as it were, to see how much interest there is for Kingdom Hearts on PC. I don't understand why they don't release the one that's all of it all together, which I'm pretty sure is like you can already get it for cheaper than $60 anyway, just on console. So
is it 1.5 and 2.5 as separate releases on the store, or are they combined?
No, it's the combined releases, but basically
that's a little better.
Yeah,
four titles basically.
Yeah,
but I think if you wait a year, it's gonna show up. It's all gonna show up on Xbox Game Pass for PC. It's already on Xbox Game Pass for Xbox. I think you wait long enough, it's all going to be on Game Pass for PC.
Yeah, for sure.
Given that it's like 6 games, I think $60 actually isn't a ripoff. It's $10 a game, and that's not so.
I think he means comparative to the console price.
Yeah,
like that's been out for a while.
Yeah, because I mean, like here's the thing: is like I normally wouldn't really cause so much of a stink about this, if it weren't for the fact that I know there's a version that has at least like all these games. I know Melody of Memory just came out, so I'm not gonna harp on that one too much, although I still think charging full price on that is a bit extraneous. But the fact that there already is a version where you can get the final mixes of 1 and 2, a game version that basically covers all the extra games and the spin-offs, and Kingdom Hearts 3. Like the fact that there's already a bundle basically in place for that you can get on console for cheaper is really ridiculous, personally. Like, this is just kind of gross to me.
The bundle you're thinking of is called The Story So Far.
Okay.
But I just looked, and the 1.5 plus 2.5 remix on PS4, which PS4, the PlayStation Store, really doesn't discount stuff nearly as much as like Steam.
Yeah.
The MSRP is $50. That's already $10 less, but right now it's on sale for $12.49.
Yeah.
So that's a quarter of the price of what they're going to start at on EGS. So I have to agree with Sam.
Yeah.
But also, are you really waiting for Kingdom Hearts to come to PC? Who was waiting for this franchise? That's like 1.5 and 2.5 are games from, I don't know, 15 years ago.
They're out there. I mean,
people are gonna. You gotta play this game from PS2 on 60.
Derek, need to remind.
I do know people.
I need to remind you when like the day when Persona 5 came out on console, there were already people online screaming, "When is it coming to PC?" These people kind of exist.
Yep.
And it'll be for everything. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Like, there were people screaming for Bloodborne for PC forever now. And granted, I would want that. That's not the point. The point is, like, these people exist for everything.
All right. Well, now I'm upset. Yeah. So as revenge, let's talk about news.
Yeah, let's switch to
PC.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just bring it up. Okay, so there was a Nintendo Direct just this week. I mean, I guess, like, for some people this Direct was kind of middling. I personally, for me, there was a lot of stuff that I liked that was announced, so I'm perfectly fine with it. But just to get out of the way, no news about Breath of the Wild 2. No news about what was it?
Metroid Prime Trilogy.
Yeah, Metroid Prime. And still no news for Bayonetta 3. But I mean, like, as far as I know, like,
is nice.
Yeah, like, we already knew that there wasn't going to be news about Bayonetta 3 anyway. The fact that there isn't any news about Breath of the Wild 2 is kind of unfortunate. But I'm perfectly fine with waiting, really. I don't really look at Nintendo Directs anymore as wish lists, as more as just like, let's just see what they're up to. That's all I really care about.
Yeah.
Now. So, sorry if you were hoping, for some saltiness, I'm not going to give it to you. But I don't know. So
I would give salt, but all of Twitter's taking care of that for me already. So.
So the Direct started off with, I think it's probably, I would call an ace troll move by Sakurai.
Sword fighting anime characters.
But waifus, and you get 2 of them.
Sword fighting anime waifus.
I actually was pretty upset because I thought they were actually putting out new DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And even though I didn't love the base game, the first DLC was probably one of the best JRPG stories I've played.
Yeah.
And so I thought they were coming back for more, and I was ready for it. And then I realized it was a Smash ad. And then
Are you a Smash player, Derek? I don't think you don't play.
I mean, I have it, and I play it sometimes when I don't play it competitively. Sam and I played a few times, and he was better than me, but not by much, so it was okay. But then I went and played, like, we have an esports club on campus. And so I played a few students, and then I was like, yeah, this is an embarrassment, too.
Students have so much time to play Smash, I think. Yeah. They really can be really intense about it. College students love their Smash.
When I was in college, we played Melee, daily, and we're very serious about it. But now I'm kids and a life, so I don't play Smash as much.
Yeah.
Was that okay to say out loud?
It's fine.
Someone's going to get upset, but not me, so.
I mean, I think we're all adults, right? So...
I'm actually quite proud. I don't own a Switch, but I stayed pretty sharp. This weekend was the first time I played Smash in a while, and I secured some pretty good dubs against people that have been playing it nonstop in the winter storm. And so I'm like, okay, I still got that. But I'm not a Xenoblade fan, but I'm also not immensely salty about this. I had my picks for it, and I'm understanding a little bit about the fact that this is still a Japanese game. And there's still a large fan base, and it makes sense. This is a good follow-up for Xenoblade characters. This is one of the franchises that, is a big one for Nintendo and is kind of very unique to Nintendo. And so it works for me. I'm not mad. I'm not excited about it. That's where we're at.
Yeah, they didn't have to pay anybody else, right? But it was also so it was easy for them to do, and also unexpected. Sorry, David, what you were going to say?
And it's a good follow-up. Xenoblade is a good series. People like it, and putting another character in is a good move.
I'm just glad it's not Crash.
What? I thought Crash would have been fun.
I've never been a fan, so I really don't care about him.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but I think he brings up there with like Banjo-Kazooie in terms of iconic platforming characters that could be added in if you wanted to expand out different franchises. But that's just me.
I mean, I was kind of hoping it would finally be like Ryu Hayabusa or something.
That'd be fun.
I mean, I try to hold no expectations anymore because it's just more. It's easier to still enjoy the game, even though I don't play it as much anymore. I'm always down for Smash.
It's always fun.
Yeah,
it's great.
I
like their moveset. I will say they look like they move really smoothly, and even if I can complain about sword fighting anime characters, most of my mains are sword fighting anime characters. Yeah. So I don't know what to say. I mean, Ike. So
yeah, that's the thing for me. Really, is like following this season pass has been the most interesting for me because each of the characters have been doing something really unique. Like whether it's like encouraging a certain style of gameplay or trying out new mechanics, with like Terry Bogard being able to cancel attacks, smashes into specials.
I like Terry. He feels really good getting those combos down.
Sephiroth being essentially a mid-range character with some really unique properties. Even Minecraft Steve, like I know it's a meme and I know people want to hate on it, but honestly, like Steve being able to just straight up block re-entry onto the stage is just mind-boggling to me. It's like that's insanely awesome. Because it's like paying respect to a portion of the meta in the game as well, which I think Sakurai does think about to a degree. It's just he has a different approach to most other fighting games, and that's because Smash isn't a fighting game like most other fighting games as well. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm definitely gonna try it. So
every new character, for the most part, has at least been fun mechanically to play around with. I think Steve was one of my favorite like Dark Horse characters just because of it's Minecraft Steve, and mechanically he was absolutely fascinating to play around with. So I'm some people weren't excited about it, but I still think it's fun to see new content coming out for Smash. It's a game I've loved for a very, very long time, all the way back to Melee. Yeah. So good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And okay, I'm gonna ask for honest answers. Is anyone excited for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Skyward Sword?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'll admit some excitement. I'm wearing a Zelda hat, so I'll say I'm a little excited.
Okay, no, it's just because like with a majority of people that I've talked to or heard talk about this game, it hasn't been as favorable, honestly, and I can kind of see some of those complaints, having like watched a friend play it as well as like a full let's play of it. Like I'm not into Zelda, so I didn't like really have any desire to get this game anyway. Like Breath of the Wild was the first game I played all the way through, actually.
So, really?
What?
Yeah.
Odd first Zelda game. It's a good Zelda game, but still.
Like even before that, I only played A Link to the Past, and I feel like I did beat it, but I don't think I did. Like I think as far as I got was maybe the second to last boss of the Dark World in that game, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, like, if nothing else, I think it'll be interesting to play this game with a controller,
Yeah,
as opposed to
Yes.
motion controls.
the I will respectfully refer to it as fuzzy controls with the Wiimote.
I actually played all the way to Twilight Princess with motion controls.
Yeah.
So
And actually,
stuff with it, I guess.
it's funny here. It's funny here how they chose to address those issues, because this is basically what you do in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I guess when Skyward Sword HD drops, get your Zelda Rising memes in. I mean, I'd be up for that. I'm cool with that. I like Rules of Nature.
That's niche enough for me. I like both of them. I will say the Joy-Cons look really cool.
Yeah.
For one thing.
The Joy-Cons do look cool.
So I'll freely admit, I guess this doesn't make me the worst Zelda fan, but I've actually never played Skyward Sword. And I think it really was just because of the weird amount of hoops you had to jump through to play it. I mean, I only had a Wii for the longest time, and because I lived overseas, I couldn't really get the controller updates that we needed to play Skyward Sword, the little, like, Wii Motion Plus controllers. And I think I did eventually get the controller updates, but my copy of Skyward Sword never arrived, or it did arrive and wasn't didn't work for some reason. And so I've never touched it. I mean, I'm trying to go in without the amount of salt a lot of Zelda fans have, because it's definitely kind of an off-the-wall Zelda title, but I just like Zelda in general, and so I am glad to see more of it. You know, would I have been more excited Breath of the Wild 2 or other games bringing out on the Switch? Sure. But I'm interested in it. I want to give it a shot. You know, I'll give you all good updates if I play it.
So this is the only Zelda left for me to finish to say I've beaten all the canon Zeldas up through Age of Calamity.
Impressive.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh gosh.
So when this game came out, like when Twilight Princess came out, I had bought a Wii and I could not do the motion controls. I got frustrated. I didn't finish it until recently on the GameCube edition. And then when this game came out, I got so frustrated, I literally quit playing video games for 8 years because I was like, I just played board games. I was getting into board games at the time, and I just said, screw it. I'm sick of Nintendo. I'm sick of motion controls. This game broke me. But then recently, I got like 5 or 10 hours in, and then I couldn't take it anymore. But I wanted to, I want to finish the game. But like the rules, it's a cool setting. Like it's not. It's just I just can't stand motion controls. Period. And so I am hyped about this. But my question about this is, okay, when they had that concert a few years ago, and was it Miyamoto? How was it Miyamoto? It was, I can't remember who. It was Anuma who said, you guys want Skyward Sword on Switch, right? And then Nintendo was like, we're not doing that. There's no news. Maybe they changed their mind. I highly doubt it. They had to have news. Nintendo's so secret about this. Why wouldn't you just say, like, yeah, give us a few years, but we're going to do it? Like, what strategic marketing advantage is there in being like, no, don't tell them that?
Well, Derek, I don't know if you know, but there was this game that was announced quite a few years back called Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, okay, fine. By the way, a comment about
there is such a thing as too much hype. So,
well, speaking of too much hype, IGN gave the original Skyward Sword a 10 out of 10. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
I think they were alone in that.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure there was a very severe Zelda drought between Skyward Sword and the last game.
David, you're just like, what? If you go right now, do it on the stream, Sam. Look up their review if it's still there.
Interesting.
Should I look up? Should I look up the infamous 4 out of 10 that they gave for God Hand as well?
Or maybe just go to Metacritic. It's not gonna show up on.
And then
there you go, 10
there it is. Wow.
Yeah. There
the greatest Zelda game ever created, according to. Wow, this one person really likes Skyward Sword.
Ocarina of Time has met its match. Wow.
That is gutsy right there.
Fire. Literally fire.
I'm kind of stunned right now. I will say I don't despise Skyward Sword. I think it is kind of nice for Zelda to take a few steps. It's an interesting setting, new characters, not having Ganon as the main villain. I think it's cool. I want to play it. I want to, make my own conclusions about it. But 10 out of 10 does seem like kind of a stretch, considering the very mixed reception to it from various other fans. But I don't know.
It's definitely not as good as Ocarina of Time, but
no,
it is really good. I really enjoyed it.
Seems
Okay.
seems kind of weird
So-
where it says here, like near the end, no game is perfect, and Skyward Sword suffers from a few small issues.
And
That's
then
a
a list of
9.5.
issues.
Okay, well, so hold on, back up. So David's the one that's actually beat this game.
Yeah.
Now, David, do you feel? Are you getting this on Switch?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you going to play it with motion controls?
Probably just because it's fun. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
I like motion controls. I might play with motion controls.
I'll probably switch back and forth.
You guys are making me so upset.
It's fun to swing a sword. What can I say?
Well, actually, David just brought up a really good point. The one time I've enjoyed motion controls is I've noticed. So in Breath of the Wild, right, you can actually aim with the controller,
Mhm.
or even with the stick. I kind of ended up doing both, where like I would jerk the controller to like the vague part of the screen, and then do it the precision with the stick.
Right.
Did they say if you're going to be able to do both at once? Like, can you touch the button or swing it? Because in that case, I might kind of enjoy being able to have both options.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I guess we'll see how it plays out.
I'm not sure if they actually addressed that in the direct either. So
Well, I'm optimistic. I'm psyched for this. I already took my abandoned and backlog off for the original, and I'm throwing my Wii in the trash because GameStop wants to give me 1 penny for it. So
We bought.
sold
we
it
had
online,
frisbees
man.
At one point, we bought for less than $30 a piece.
Literally,
These are just pretty
you
much
could
I'll
literally
take it.
sell that on eBay or Craigslist for like $20 or something easy.
Just use it as a paperweight.
I'm taking it to Goodwill.
Oh,
It have game consoles in Goodwill. Oh well. Splatoon 3.
yeah, Splatoon 3. I actually
I'm happy
was.
for you.
Yeah, I actually was kind of excited about this one. Although I'm not sure if I'll actually play it. Because I want to hear if they'll actually address the online issues right now for the Switch first. I kind of want to see how Monster Hunter Rises Online performs. Since I'm pretty sure this will be coming out well after Monster Hunter Rise. So that's pretty much it. Otherwise, yeah, more Splatoon. I'm sure people are happy. The bow looks pretty cool. I'm not sure about that though. That might be a turnoff for me. But
What, the little creature?
if you want to call it that, sure, whatever it is.
A sin against man and God. There's different terms for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Splatoon is one of my favorite like new Nintendo franchises. I think it's always cool when something can like come out of the woodwork like that and make a name for itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it is good to see Nintendo is willing to push forward and give us more of what people like. So I'm excited for it. All good stuff. Nothing else to say. Splatoon is cool.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Pretty much.
I'm happy other people are happy. But then Joe's reaction was, why are they giving us Splatoon 3 and not Metroid Prime 4?
That is also a valid reaction to have. Splatoon, like many of these were very odd choices. We can say how much Nintendo fans have been clamoring for attention to their old franchises for years and years and years. So the salt is real for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of skin in the game, so I'm kind of only disappointed in no Breath of the Wild 2 news. But
I mean, I'm not sure how much.
disappointed.
You're always. I'm not
When
sure
I
how
was
much.
in no Metroid news, I'm always disappointed.
understandable.
Is this really zero sum though? Like, if they weren't making Splatoon 3, would those devs really be working on Metroid?
Oh,
Prime
no.
4?
No.
So
Probably, most definitely not.
I don't. I think that's a faulty logic. Saying like they get this, but we don't get Metroid Prime 4. I mean,
That's fair enough. I can't be mad at people that want Splatoon 3, but I can be a little incensed that Nintendo neglects a lot of their older franchises.
I don't care how illogical it is. I'm still mad.
Fair enough.
The
That's
point
a Nintendo fan for you.
the point really being they shouldn't have announced it in the first place, really.
Yeah, I don't like kids to be happy, so Splatoon 3 is a no for me.
yeah, I guess Sam. I guess you could have used Metroid Prime 4 as an example instead of Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I can't say anything about that because I never played a Metroid Prime.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say here. There's Mario Golf.
Well, if they released a collection on it, maybe I would. No, forget that. Anyway, Mario Golf Super Rush. Cool.
It looks fun. I like Mario sports games. Mario Strikers is one of my favorite games on the Wii, actually. I may pick it up. We'll see.
Yeah.
I would play this at somebody else's house. I am not going to pay for it.
It very much is one of those games that you just like, hey, I've got games. Let's play Mario Golf. We have that.
Like
Cool.
I feel like with every Mario game that has come out so far, I'm just like, I kind of want to get it, but do I really want to pay full price for it? Not really.
He was really good.
So.
The Mario sports games are kind of hit or miss, but they do have their value to them. They're colorful, they're fun, they're well done. Everyone gets to pick their favorite characters. I think they're enjoyable, and but it's not something I'm going to be clamoring to get necessarily.
Yeah.
Whoever said that, Odyssey was really good. Do you think we're going to get Mario Kart 9 on the Switch at some point?
I would like that. That's one of the other games that, like you said, you can't diss the fact that Mario Golf came out and then say, why wouldn't you get us Mario Kart 9? But man, fans have been clamoring for Mario Kart 9. People really like Mario Kart.
The thing is, I've been going back and forth of whether to get Mario Kart 8 or not. But again, I'm just like, I don't know. Do I really want to get it, or is it just like I just want to be able to play with people online? But then at the same time, I don't know. Maybe, you know what? Honestly, I could just get the game and then play it on my own just to like learn the tracks and other mechanics. Because I remember playing Mario Kart 8 before and just getting utterly destroyed because I did not know what to do at all. Like I thought it was just going to be relatively easy and I wouldn't really need to know anything. But no, apparently there's a lot I need to know. So,
Sam, I want you to take that energy and finish Silver Case instead.
Fair enough. Yeah. Anyway,
y'all playing too many games. Dad over here telling you to save your money.
Play one game. That's it.
Oh, I can't do that.
Oh, I will say though, Wario's fit is the best part of that trailer. Like, that's all I have to say is that Wario in his sick little like uncle outfit really confirms he's just the uncle of the Mario universe. That's all I have to say. The memes are fire. I have no opinion on this. It is another Octopathy RPG.
I am downloading this demo as soon as we're done. Yeah. I will say a brief comment about this. I really like that this dev is doing this early demo thing and then like taking feedback and then doing a real demo rather than like this seems like the way to manage hype right and not be like we're getting to it in 2 years. It's like early access for Switch, right? Mm-hmm. Except maybe a little more closed doors, but willing to iterate on it. So I'm excited for this. I'm going to check this week.
Question: did they do that same strategy with Octopath Traveler too?
I don't remember it for Octopath. I think Bravely Default 2 is the first time they've done it.
Okay.
But then now they're doing it again. I guess it worked enough for them to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of using a demo to get feedback because then it's like, oh well, we have time. Well, we still have some time before the game actually comes out, so why not get some feedback on like gameplay and stuff like that and see what else we could change. I said it in the group chat on the day of when the direct dropped, but I said with clapping emotes, normalize demos. I truly believe demos are a great way to constructively build hype for a game, and it's also a good way to know if you'll enjoy the game or not. And sometimes it's hard to tell, and also it's hard to just drop money just to try it out. And yes, I know there's like a refund thing now for a lot of games, but that's not the point. The point is being able to try it first, because like, you know, there's a lot of games that could have benefited from having a demo out first and then having some things tweaked, if not like major things, even small things that can help improve the gaming experience in small ways that won't be like add-ons to major flaws of certain games. So
Eric, your mic is on. Your mic is off.
Thank you. I don't know if this is a good, bad, or neutral comment, but in the board game space, Kickstarter has really enabled this where if you back a project, it's like the backers think that they should be part of the process of design, even though they have no idea what they're talking about. And so, when they see updates or whatever, or they see scopes of pieces, or in the case of video games, they get an early demo, then they feel like that, I'm basically funding your project. I'm the publisher, basically. So I should have a say in what this is. And that culture is both good and bad. It's good, this early demo thing, I think, is a good way to do it. It's kind of properly. On the other hand, some Kickstarters just end up stupid because they let the backers just run away with it. So I don't know where that culture should kind of land to be healthy, but I think this is a good example of kind of something coming out of that shift in attitudes. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually play Octopath Traveler at all. I only played the demo for the most part, but this does seem kind of interesting. Although, granted, it has been kind of difficult for me to latch onto any game that's what is it? Like isometric tactical RPG, save for Fire Emblem, really. Honestly, I don't know why it's so difficult for me when I have played Fire Emblem before. So I don't know.
They're definitely trying to make a spiritual sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics here, which is honestly one of the best games ever made. So that's where the hype is coming from for me.
Okay. And then yeah, moving on. I'm sorry.
Oh, guys.
Well, okay, we'll just mention it real quick, I guess, because some people might.
It's made by Zynga.
Yeah,
so there's not much to say here.
Yep,
it's just
that's the thing.
Bearing itself again.
I saw that 3-headed dog in the little corner. And I was like, well, writing this off right away.
I would like to believe it. Everyone loves Bizarre Bounty Hunters, and it sounds like it'd be cool, but it's online, it's squad-based, made by Zynga, it's free to play. I have very little interest in it.
It's squad-based. Sounds like it's going to be a Battle Royale game.
I have zero interest because it's Star Wars.
That's fine.
I would rather pay full price for Kingdom Hearts on the Epic Game Store than play a free-to-play Battle Royale game.
That's fair enough. That's a good hot
take
to have.
That's rude to Apex Legends.
Good.
So them putting Fall Guys out on the Switch feels a little late. Not gonna lie, because I don't think anyone plays Fall Guys anymore. Not what I mean. It was fun, but it was definitely one of those games that we played and we're like, this is gonna last for like a month, right? And most of us were correct about that after its little initial burst hype.
Well,
my brother was excited about it, but that's about the only person I think.
The thing is, Among Us blew up just after it released. Is the problem?
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if they just poached audiences, but Among Us definitely had longer staying power, even if it was more of a. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure some people will enjoy it, but I really don't know how much is it actually going to help them boost their player base.
I mean, I'll say that as long as they continue updating the game, then they'll be fine. It doesn't have to be gangbusters all the time. It just has to do well long enough to solidify its audience, and I think it has, to be honest. And it's been some time, and they release a port, and that'll stir up interest again. But
sure, I mean, like I said, certain audiences. My brother, for example, is younger. He doesn't have a PS4. He only has a Switch, and he would watch me play Fall Guys and really wanted one on the Switch. And so he has his own YouTube channel, and he posted a bunch about how excited he was for this. It's my favorite thing happening. So, I mean,
you just hit it on the head. I bet there are a lot of 10 to 12-year-olds who could only ever play this on Switch, and there's probably millions. And
it's a great game for the Switch, honestly. It's very fit with the vibe of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they will get a new audience of kids that don't have another way to play it.
Yeah. And this way, the parents can work on their computers instead of forsaking it to keep the children entertained.
Exactly.
That hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, after that, just some small news. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity expansion pass announced. Uh, who is it? Tecmo Koei has done this before with other Warriors games as well, so this is pretty much par for the course. What was surprising about it is that they're basically getting released, I think, like 2 months apart, essentially. So, um, I don't know if it's like it was Nintendo's decision or Tecmo Koei's decision to handle it that way, but yeah, I just found it interesting because you usually see a much longer time difference between DLCs getting released for anything Nintendo related. So, um,
Do we know if this has story content? Because I really want it to not have any, so I can ignore it.
I have no idea.
Fair enough.
I don't think it was even listed in the trailer itself either.
I'm pretty sure it's not just expanded characters, new stages. No additional story content. It says it right there in second line.
Thank
yeah,
you,
okay.
Jesus.
So good news, Derek. You don't have to play that.
Woohoo.
Cool. Whoops. And then Ninja Gaiden Master Collection announced. I was pretty excited about this because I always wanted to go back to these games and try them out. Although what's kind of unfortunate is that it's not for the first Ninja Gaiden for 360 rather. It's the Sigma version and not the black version. Which is actually like the most updated version of that game that was last released. Not sure why that was the case, but I don't know. Hopefully, it's not too bad. Oh no, wait, no. It says here it's an enhanced port of Ninja Gaiden Black. Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. I had that backwards. All right then. Moving on.
I like a good Master Collection because I never played the original Ninja Gaiden game. I had a good chance to get into them.
Mm-hmm. Those games are really hard though. Just so you know.
I'm up to the challenge. I'm cool. I like video games.
I mean, it's not as bad as the original Ninja Gaiden, which was basically one-hit kills, but
are they harder than Cluster?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure when Ninja Gaiden for 360 first came out, it was like considered one of the hardest games of that year.
Hey.
Next on the docket, Super Mario items added to Animal Crossing.
That's exciting.
Cool.
The Animal Crossing City Folk, the Nintendo items are one of my favorite parts of the game. I proudly had an R-Wing from Star Fox in my house.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun that some of them are functional too, like the little types that you go across your island. So I'm like,
Is there a chance that Animal Crossing has outsold Breath of the Wild, or at least by rate of adoption?
I don't know.
I don't think it has, but it's definitely up there.
And then there's Miitopia, Outer Wilds coming in the summer, which the direct also horribly spoiled one of the early twists of that game. I thought that was kind of odd for them to do, but okay, I guess.
Put your sleuthing skills to.
So these are apparently remakes, and they're basically visual novel detective games, I suppose. Derek shouted out to me on our Discord that these have my name written all over it. I wasn't quite sure how to take that statement, but I said thank you nonetheless.
If these are cheap, I might give them a shot.
Yeah.
By the way, the only game that's outsold Animal Crossing on the Switch is Mario Kart.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
even Smash doesn't hold a candle to Animal Crossing.
Okay. Samurai Warriors 5, getting ported to Switch. I didn't even know
Yeah,
we were up that much for the
we're kind of
port.
getting to the dregs, right? Like Legend of Mana is not that exciting. Maybe some of these ports, but like I don't know, like Tales from the Borderlands. This is like the PC thing, right? Like, is it that exciting to get a game way after everybody else on a new platform?
Yeah.
It is.
Wait, sorry. Wait, sorry.
Is
I
it
actually
really,
was half listening to you.
is it really that exciting to get a game, a year and a half later because it's on a new platform? I mean, I guess Switch is portable, but I am a little excited. I will check out the Saga Frontier remaster. I'm
Yeah,
curious
I
about
want to check out that game too, honestly, because the free I forget what they called it when they first marketed the game, but basically the free range story element to it is really interesting to me. Like there's basically 7 characters and you can freely choose which character to follow, and
That's
then
pretty cool.
all the characters basically fall into the story as it goes along.
It's honestly a 20-year early precursor, 25 years maybe, to Octopath,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a very similar concept.
Yeah. I guess I won't show that then. Yeah. We need to fire through these real quick. So Legend of Mana, Monster Hunter Rise. It was somewhat of a new trailer, but not much more info was released about it. Tales from the Borderlands getting announced for Nintendo Switch. Capcom Arcade Stadium surprise. I guess normally
Capcom games on the Switch.
yeah. I guess normally I would be excited for this, but I'm not particularly too hot on a lot of those old arcade games. To be perfectly honest, in my opinion, a lot of them are just not very good, actually. And some of these are already available actually in the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle that was released a while back too. So
And Capcom porting anything is not a surprise, no matter when it is or
yeah,
how much notice.
No.
It's not a surprise.
if anything, Capcom reporting some games is more of a problem than it is like excitement, really. Okay, so Rebel Without a Pulse, is this like a classic game or something? Because I've never heard of this game.
Shambles, Stubbs the Zombie. Damien seems to enjoy it, but I've never heard of it, so
Uh,
that looks fun, I guess.
Derek, David, have either of you heard this game?
I had not, but it wouldn't be my style even if I had seen it.
Yeah.
It's
I
rated
have
E.
no idea what it is.
Can't touch it. Burn me.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, these next two I'm actually excited for. No More Heroes 3 for August 27th. Super excited for that. Interestingly enough, people who have played Traffic Strikes Again basically got a sneak peek of the gameplay for No More Heroes 3, actually, because I was really surprised to see that they included the death skill system from Traffic Strikes Again. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's basically what it was. And
There
Neon,
you go.
yeah, and Neon White, a first-person card battler coming to Switch. Super weird.
I thought that one looked interesting.
Yeah, actually made by Ben Esposito, who's known to make pretty out there games. His last game being, I believe, What Remains of Edith Finch, and then before that was Donut County. Not much
That's
about that
still-
either, but
It'd be interesting.
yeah.
Somehow I missed the card battling when this was announced, so
Oh, really?
I'm mildly
Yeah, I
curious.
didn't catch that either.
Okay. I'll just skip to the part in the trailer where they show that off.
I'm torn between my love of card games and my disdain for first-person games.
Oh my goodness. Ah. Yeah, so I think it's still really an FPS, but you basically go through cards. So it's like limited uses. Oh, that's
Yeah, I would
rocket
wanna know
jumping.
more.
Interesting.
Like, are you shuffling a deck, or is it really just an awkward way to show your like list of abilities, and they don't have to be cards? Like,
Yeah, I think
like
it's
card
really
games have
just
become
abilities
popular
that you pick up.
God's judgment.
like the cards leading into video games sometimes is not really like it doesn't need to be a card, if that makes sense. So it's hard to tell to what extent they're really like
I'm
applying.
kind of intrigued by it. It looks a little unorthodox, not handling its mechanics. So
Again, Ben Esposito thrives on being weird with his games.
Yeah.
Sometimes they work,
My
sometimes they
interest
don't.
is a bit shakier now.
Go for it, David.
My interest is just a little bit less now that I know card one, but it still could be good.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a shot. I just think what's really interesting is that is like Neon White kind of feels like his most orthodox game compared to his other games, which is weird to say. Anyway, DC Superhero Girls Teen Power announced. Oh my goodness, I couldn't even get through that without falling asleep.
Hey, I've got a 6-year-old that might want to play that. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be good. I wasn't really impressed by what I saw there though, but who knows?
It's DC. I don't care.
Oh,
That's fair.
Oh, anyway,
sad.
Plants vs Zombies, Bell for Neighborville. That
Fun,
weird
I guess.
squad shooter. I think it was.
Knockout City got multiplayer dodgeball.
Yeah, this was. I don't know. This was like the most. This was like the most trend chasing trailer that they had on the direct. It's kind of weird. I'm not gonna even click on it because it was just so generic. Unfortunately, the mechanics look cool. I just kind of wish they focused more on that rather than the weird like pixel princess COD clone and then Warcraft orc just talking about a shooting game.
The fight for survival.
This one, World's End Club, by the creators of Danganronpa and Zero. Shoot, I think Zero Eclipse Dilemma is the name of the game, of the other game. This kind of threw me off because I thought it was gonna be like another visual novel game, but then it quickly sidetracks into a 2D explorer, which is weird because Danganronpa doesn't normally do these types of games, obviously. But I'm guessing what's going to happen is like the majority you're going to be doing is the side scrolling, and then in between there are also going to be like
elements.
story segments to kind of like try to figure out what's happening next.
Interesting.
Yeah. Again, kind of weird concept, but could be interesting. I don't know.
Bravely Default 2 trailer.
Yeah. Bravely Default 2 covered that.
Don't show me. Don't show me.
Here. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. I don't know.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the I guess I'll show the trailer. The art kind of just threw me off personally. It wasn't like particularly
The latest installment in
exciting, I suppose. It just kind of looked.
Like, I can see what you mean. It's,
yeah, I don't know. It just kind of looked off to me. But then again, I don't really have fond memories of this game, too. It's not an easy game either. So
it is not. It's kind of infamous for that. But it's there. People will enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I guess.
I like that boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I will pick it up now because of that one boss. And then finally, Apex Legends coming to Switch. Awesome. That's cool. Kind of crazy that there is a way for that game to operate on that platform.
The amount of corners they have to cut to do that is crazy, but
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I have to imagine because of how big the maps are, to how they're going to compensate for that as well. But then again, I guess like with the heroes and their abilities, it shouldn't be too much of a problem if I remember correctly. I haven't touched that game honestly since like season 1. I only played it for like a bit and then stopped after. And then Hades getting a physical edition for Switch, which is cool. Also includes a PC download code, so you basically get the game twice for the price of one. And an art book actually, which actually would be pretty cool. I might consider double dipping if that's the case, honestly. Just for that art book, because I really like the art in that game. It's super cool. And I'm a big fan of art books, so. Okay, that took us a while to get through. So we'll just go through the other news just real quick. So this is kind of part of a developing story. After rumors hit about there possibly being a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PS5. A Bluebird team, which created the Medium, which released recently, has hinted at working on Silent Hill, but it's not the only one. I'm not sure how solid this rumor is, because I saw another article talking about Kojima possibly working on Silent Hills, although I don't know, I may have just mistaken that for an older article back then. So there's not much to say, but
I don't really care who's working as long as we get a new one.
Yeah, I would like that. I've kind of heard a little bit of stuff in the PT demo, and then watching all of that go downhill. So I'm a little afraid it's going to turn out like Metal Gear Survive.
Well, it's not going to be PT, whatever it might be.
Oh no, I know, but it's not going to be anything close to the Silent Hills project that PT was, originally teasing.
Yeah.
So I'm a little hesitant to get interested in this, just because right now it seems like basically rumors. And I don't know if it'll really live up to the hype that Silent Hills is putting together, but we'll see. I'll remain open.
Yeah.
I've only played the first Silent Hill, but I loved it, and I want to play the rest of the series.
The second one is the best.
I hope there's another.
You from what I've heard, you pretty much have to play 2 and 3 after the first one, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, YouTube channel The Great Debate, basically, they published an hour-long video presenting evidence that these rumors may have ground, because it corresponds, Akira Yamaoka doing an interview about working on another game with Bluebird team, because he composed music for the Medium. But then that interview was then taken down, if I remember correctly, shortly after it was tweeted out. So there's not much else there.
I will say, as far as outsourcing franchises and the concerns with that, I generally would have been skeptical in the past, but I think Nintendo's relationship with Koei Tecmo has been pretty positive.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes me think, you pick the right studio, you do this right. It's not a bad thing. And Drew Feisner reviewed the medium for us, and he was very positive on it. So it seems, and also given that it's the right genre, that kind of game. I mean, he said he found the medium to be pretty spooky. So it's not like they're picking the wrong kind of developer. So I mean, who knows if it's true? But if you're a Silent Hill fan, I wouldn't view it as like bad news. I would be cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if anything, it's just like, it's just that it's getting talked about. So I guess, fingers crossed. Really. I mean, like, if anything, it's I want these IPs to continue, just because, like, I know there are people who want these IPs to come back in some way. If anything, for me, it's just like I would just want them to be good. Really, it's just kind of weird that, like, Konami is, like, if this is true, it's weird that they're deciding to do this now. Which I guess it means the pachinko business has not been as good to them lately. That being more so the case with last year with the pandemic and everything. But yeah, good to hear. Hopefully it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, we're running short. We're kind of running short a bit on time, but so I'll just skip through this, like, here and there. Have any of you guys checked out this trailer for Black Myth Wukong?
Nope.
Derek, Malachi? Oh, okay. Yeah, so
I can't say that I have.
So I didn't check out this trailer. This is the gameplay trailer, and I think there's also a video on the studio's Twitter that shows them playing the game in office. So as far as I know, all this right now is in game, which is kind of crazy because a lot of the detail looks really good. Oh, and the bug is a man. Okay. I didn't expect that. I remember hearing in an interview that the main developer, if I remember correctly, said that they took a lot of inspiration from Sekiro, as well as the new God of War game as well. Which, I mean, it's kind of obvious just looking at this gameplay right now.
It looks really nice.
Yeah. Like, I think everyone was basically taken away by how good this game looked when the trailer dropped. Unfortunately, it's not going to look that good in the preview. I'm looking at it right now. I apologize for that. So go check out the Black Myth Wukong trailer if you have the time. Okay. So sorry about that. Derek had to step out because he has to get ready for work tomorrow.
He has children, unlike any of the rest of us. So
I mean, I have work tomorrow. I do need to go to bed soon too. But anyway, so for our discussion for tonight, it was a question I posed. So
David, all your animals are really enjoying getting in frame this week.
Does the cat have an opinion to say?
Of
course, it's a cat.
Yeah,
They're very
probably.
opinionated creatures. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
She just says, like, something wild, like Persona 5 was mid, and then walks away. Yeah. Okay, so the question or rather our discussion today is, and this is kind of similar to a discussion Derek posed before, but like what particular thing, like and this can be anything, like whether it's something major or something small, what particular aspect of a game immediately makes it unplayable to you? And I guess I'll just start off with one thing. Oh, sorry, David, did you have something?
I can wait.
Oh, okay. Just to give an idea, I talked about it before, but one of the things that where like I just straight up gave up on Tokyo Mirage Sessions was just like while I didn't give up on it right away, I was basically like 4 chapters in until I finally decided I've had enough of this game. I don't want to waste my time on it anymore. And I think the reason why was mostly just because the story didn't feel very substantial. Like, or if anything, the story started to feel very predictable in its pacing, and like it wasn't, and it just wasn't very captivating as like say like Witcher 3 or um, Red Dead 2, or I guess more uh, I guess just to give a more relatable example, like Persona 5, because like despite problems I have with that game, I can definitely say it's a lot more interesting than Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I like. I just had real trouble staying committed to that game, just in general. It just got really boring, um, like pretty quickly, honestly.
Yeah, I would say that definitely there is an aspect of if the game's not engaging with you or really drawing you in, it's hard to want to stay committed and put the time in. I think I saw something on Twitter about this recently where it's kind of like a lot of times you hit that odd point, especially with RPGs, where you're 10 hours into a game and you just lose all interest in it, but you still have the game. And so there's this weird session of like, do I want to continue pushing through past this 10-hour mark because I have it and want to keep playing it? Or don't want to keep playing it, but you want to go ahead and finish it, or not. And so I don't know. That better way to put it, I suppose, is the idea of like you have a product, you're paying for the game to entertain you and reach and engage with you. And unlike other forms of media, where you can watch a movie and be like, "Oh wow, that was disappointing." With a game, you take a lot of your time to put into it and a lot of effort as well, mental effort, physical effort. Um, so yeah, better figure that out earlier than later on, I would think. I'd say for me, one of the biggest things that makes that, for me, like right off the bat, control schemes are what can kill a game dead in the water for me, or just how they control, how they feel. I usually can be fairly gracious to games and try to figure them out. But there have been points where I think actually, it's funny enough, it's the 14th anniversary today of Sonic and Secret Rings, and I mentioned previously on the podcast, but I've played very few games that use a sideways Wii Remote configuration as a main control feature. There've been some, but Sonic and Secret Rings use that, and they required consistent amounts of tilting to jump up.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's super
And
weird.
that is one of the only games that I quit immediately after the first level, and I've never played it again. So happy 14-year anniversary of me not playing that game anymore. Because frankly, like if I'm going to be playing a game for a long period of time, and every single time I have to do an action, it's just unmappable to fix something that feels extraordinarily uncomfortable, I can't do that.
I thought I was gonna have something to say, but I didn't. Sorry. Yeah, David, go
ahead. Like Derek was saying, is like his limited ability to have patience for motion controls.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your example, David?
For me, it's just bad gameplay in general, because I can deal with bad graphics to a degree. I can deal with a bad story because the first Borderlands hardly even has a story.
True.
But it's a fun game because the gameplay is good.
Mm.
If I can even put up with bad voice acting as long as the gameplay is fun, and so if that's bad, I give up really quickly.
Do you have an example of where that was the case?
I have two off the top of my head, which are Outbreak Epidemic and Residents of Fate. And the only reason I stayed with those as long as I had, or as long as I did, is because I was reviewing them.
Oh, yeah, that's extra fun when you have a game that you're reviewing and you kind of just have to keep playing it.
Yeah.
Well,
if I wasn't reviewing them, I'd have given up within the first hour or two.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely agree with I know you just said the game, but I literally just forgot its name. Of whatever epidemic.
Fate? The Outbreak Epidemic.
Outbreak Epidemic. Yeah, I've seen a video of that game. Oh boy, that does not look fun to play.
It's really not.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it didn't look great. But I mean, like, okay. I need to ask because I saw that walk cycle, and while it is I will say it's a very strong walk cycle for a character to have. How bad was it to like move around with that walk cycle?
It was okay.
Like what? Like was it sluggish? Was it?
Yeah, it was sluggish. It was hard to move around because your flashlight did nothing. It was completely dark in every direction, and if you go too fast, you'll inevitably run into a monster and die.
Fun.
Oh yes.
And actually, I want to ask you about Resonance of Fate because I mean, like I will agree that I think that game has a very terrible problem with explaining its controls to you or even gameplay at all as to how that's supposed to work. But like, just so you can elaborate on it, like, what was like the most outstanding issue you had with that game as soon as you touched it?
I think the fact that if one member of your party dies, you get a game over, and it's really easy for that to happen. Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's really easy for it to happen because you only have a limited number of things you can do. If you don't do it right, you're basically an open target, and yeah, you die pretty quickly.
Because like I think because when I played it and like trying out that combat while being like horribly obtuse, I did find it interesting to a certain degree where it was like I feel like I feel like maybe if they were able to explain it better or at least like put you in more situations that required you to utilize the mechanics more concretely, it might be easier to understand. But then again, at the same time, it is kind of a lot for the game to expect you to just know to like use those first few battles as like learning experiences more than anything, because I think that's around the time where like video games in general were trying to like learn how to streamline the experience and not really like and not really learning how to tutorialize a level because it was kind of like it was kind of like, you know, at that point tutorials still weren't really a thing. It was more kind of like you just kind of had to decide whether you were going to nuance it in your first level or anything. And, you know, like no games really did that or at least like games with a 3D perspective. No games really did that better than you know, for example, like original Doom's E1M1 and Super Mario 64, um, just like starting out like outside the castle,
yeah,
and like trying to understand like how jumps work and what you could do with those jumps and stuff like that.
I think you make up a good point in the fact that the first few hours of the game they're really essential to selling you on it. Especially everything from here's the story, here's why this is interesting, you know, a storytelling hook from the writing perspective. Here's the world, here's why you should want to explore it. Here's what makes the game interesting in terms of gameplay. Here's why you would like to play with that. And if we fail to sell you on any of these like major things, you're gonna leave. I mean, gameplay is one of the biggest elements, but I think one of the things that's made games hard, maybe you might want to pick them up, is either the tutorial drags on way too long, the story is extraordinarily something I'm not super interested in, or you have a situation like Sam was saying, like I think one of the most frustrating, especially if you go back further in earlier games, I'm talking about Metal Wolf Chaos earlier on, is it's way too hard, or there's very limited amounts of instruction as to how to move forward, how to make the best use of your abilities. I mean, I used to play a lot of older games, and the amount of times you'd eventually go, you could play through hours of the game, struggling through it, and then go, oh, I've had this ability that I didn't know I could use that way the entire time. It would have made this way easier. I forget which game it was, but I think there was one that I managed to beat almost the entire game without jumping, because the jump was mapped somewhere weirdly, and I didn't realize that jumping was an option that you could do until I hit finally a level where you had to jump, and I was extraordinarily frustrated. And then I started Googling stuff, and I was like, "There's a jump button." Oh,
I'm really curious as to what game that was, because
I wish I could remember off the top of my head, because if it was a platform, there's no way. But
yeah, because that's crazy. Like, how can you go through a whole game without? I mean, okay. I mean, like, I don't know what your experience with that game was, to be fair, but if there was a jump button, then it's like there must have been other moments where you're just like, man, I just like, were you just going like, man, I just really wish I could jump.
there was explicitly, you know what? I remember what it was. It was the first Bioshock. I don't know why I didn't know how to jump in the first Bioshock for several hours, and then I had a puzzle that required it. I was just, yeah.
Yeah, no, you know what? I totally understand that, because through a majority of that game, like just skimming through some of those levels in my head, yeah, there's no reason to jump ever.
There's one specific example where you have to get over some pipes.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I couldn't figure out how to do it. Because it looked like you could almost walk over them with like some ramps and stuff, or you're supposed to shoot through. And so I was just shooting at stuff in the environment where I hit things, make it work. And I started Googling it, and then I was like, oh, you can jump?
So when I find out I can jump, I just jump everywhere I go.
Fair enough.
Dang, that's crazy though. Cause you know what I want to do now? I want to install Bioshock 1 and see like, cause I don't even know if you can jump. Like, cause now I just think you're crazy actually.
You can jump in the first Bioshock.
Yeah.
I think. No, I'm questioning it. Don't do that to me.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Like, I believe you, but it's just like I don't remember jumping in that game either. That's the thing. But you definitely,
I seriously,
you definitely jump in Bioshock Infinite. I know that for sure.
I'll pull up a tutorial on my phone, and the tutorial was like, "Yeah, you go here and then you jump over this box." And I'm like, "You can." Oh,
man, that's wild.
And it's just a tiny example. Bioshock 1 isn't even that old.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of games that are like that refuse to explain everything from your basic abilities to just, oh, here's how you do a certain combo that you're required to beat this thing, or you have to go here to unlock this. That was my issue with Hollow Knight, was very limited amounts of directions right off the bat. I'm sure I'll beat Hollow Knight eventually. It looks really good. But I'm not good at figuring out where to go without clear directions, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I've been stuck on it for a long time.
Yeah, no, it was the same for me, because like I picked up Hollow Knight a long time ago, after hearing everybody talk about how good it was, and then I basically got stuck at a certain point, and I pretty much dropped that game altogether because I didn't really know what else to do. And then I ended up picking it back up again just to see where I was. Um, and it's like I think one of my problems with that game in particular is like it's kind of exhausting how long it takes to go through certain areas. And I mean, granted, there are certain spots where it can be easier to just completely dash through a level, but my main problem is like uh with that with the ability that you need to use for that, it essentially requires like a straight line of clearance. Like if you hit anything, you're just gonna eat damage. You can't really stop it super well. Um, and yeah, like I don't know. Like I do think it's a good game, but there are certain things about it where it's just like um, if you're unless you're into those types of games, which I guess you can basically say like Metroid style games.
Metroidvanias.
It's difficult to get through them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not used to them either, and I'm definitely not. Like, yeah, like I haven't really touched any Castlevania like or Metroid like game except maybe for yeah, no, I can't think of a single game like that I've like completed all the way through. I want to say Shovel Knight, but I don't think Shovel Knight really counts in that case actually.
Shovel Knight's more of a proper platformer, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm thinking of. Oh, I think you mentioned something about a game you're playing that like you had one party member die and that was game over for you. A lot of my abandons have been in games where there's high stakes and you just hit a dead end point really, really fast, or you lose a lot of progress. And it's just a little bit of a different topic, I guess, but like those moments where XCOM, I think XCOM 1 and 2, I'm thinking of also Darkest Dungeons, where you hit those points where you just have complete party wipes, and that's it. I'm moving on, or we're going to go play a different game. I'll come back to it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
The other example I'm trying to think of, the first game I ever reviewed, if it's clear that the game is not putting any kind of effort in, or there is like enough mildly annoying things that are kind of hard to overlook when it comes to everything from translation, poor controls, etc. I really struggle when I give the game my time. Make War, for example, was a very poorly localized Russian game that had the looks of a mobile game. It was really not very good. I was immediately I had a hard time getting past the first menu because of the broken English that I was having to deal with, and then was stuck on one portion because it was trying to tell me to place a portal somewhere in again horribly broken English, and it couldn't tell me where it was supposed to go. I'm gonna abandon the game at that point.
Yeah, I mean like I could definitely say like overall experiences can definitely turn off anyone for sure. And I mean like a game that you played, Malachi, Mel Wolf Chaos, is totally that type of game. Like, and that's the thing is like it has this one really good thing about it that's extremely entertaining. But then there's the rest of the game, and like I told you, Mel Wolf Chaos is not an easy game. It's not a it's not a feel good game necessarily. It's a it's a somewhat trudgingly difficult game that just happens to have like one of the most hilarious stories ever attached to it.
Kind of deceives you a little bit in how it's you look like it should be easy, but I guess taking America back is harder than expected.
Yeah, as it should be, really. It shouldn't really be that easy, but
that's true. The American Army is kind of big.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say about Metal Wolf Chaos? You know what? Never mind. That's I've lost it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I suppose like I suppose I'll just end this off just because I really gave more an example rather than like an actual thing. I suppose like David, it really just comes down to gameplay for me. Because I mean like, I mean I did give Tokyo Mirage Sessions as an example, but that's more because like it was more just like for that game in particular, I just felt like I wasn't really rewarded for any effort I put into that game. Um, but similar to David, I think what really throws me off is just bad gameplay. Um, and that's really subjective because it can mean different things uh, for all people. And it's somewhat more, so it's kind of more subjective. But in my case, it's kind of like I really dislike um, I really dislike gameplay uh, that feels either extremely limited as to what you can do, and or or gameplay that tries to pretend to be complex when really it's just like it's the things around the gameplay that make it feel nebulous as to how well you can perform. Um, if that makes any sense. And I guess if anything, it's like uh, that that second part applies more to Tokyo Mirage Sessions, just as an example, because like I said, the gameplay never felt rewarding enough to me, and it's like it's a very typical JRPG where you have equipment, and there are some other things to it where it's like there's this mechanic called sessions, which is basically that game's version of the press turn system in other Shin Megami Tensei games. Just as a basic um, explanation, um, it's similar to like the super effective effect from Pokemon, where like in Pokemon it does double damage. If it's not as effective, it does half damage. For Shin Megami Tensei, uh, it basically does increased damage. It varies. It varies depending on like stats and stuff like that. But essentially, it does increase damage, but it also gives you an extra turn um, for your party, which you can use to do like any number of things. It's basically a very simple mechanic that adds like one extra layer of a tactical advantage to battles. It's a very rewarding system too. I like it a lot. Anyway, for Tokyo Mirage Sessions, um, it's a similar system, but you also have to unlock skills that basically help chain um, an effective attack to other attacks within your party. So it can be things like, okay, this party member does an ice attack, and then that allows another party member to attack with a physical attack, and then that physical attack can be chained to another party member that does a fire attack or something like that. So it's supposed to be like more rewarding, I suppose, but in execution it comes off as really grating and just tedious, really, because it plays like this 1 to 2 second cutscene for each chain to have to stack on top of it, and rather than satisfying, and it doesn't feel satisfying at all, rather, like I said, it feels more tedious than anything, and it really drags on the combat as well. And not only that, it hardly ever feels like it has any effect, if anything. And I think if anything, it's like it's kind of a negative impact on in a metaphorical sense, and also in a gameplay sense, where so and like that's why I think that game fails for me in its gameplay. And that's just like one example of what I was saying before, where it's like the game tries to sell its gameplay as complex, when it's really like it's just a bunch of other things that the game surrounds its gameplay to try to make it feel complex, when it's really just shallow, and it's more of just like extra things you have to do in order for that gameplay to succeed. I hope I explained that well enough. If I didn't, I apologize, but
yeah, I hear you. There's a fine line between letting players figure things out like naturally, because there really is something to be said for organically understanding something and having that moment of just like, oh, that's how that works together. But also, you can leave a lot out. And what I was saying earlier, that I think it's interesting about games is that it's such a multifaceted medium that, say, for example, what hooks you when it comes to a book or a movie. I mean, there's definitely a lot of different factors when it comes to it. With the book, for the most part, it's the plot. That's it. You know, maybe there's little things that annoy you, like grammar, inflection, how the characters are written, etc. But for the most part, that all kind of flows together neatly. With the movie, it's just, am I enjoying this? Is this sucking me in? Is it feeling good? Games have to get you in multiple different aspects, and if one of those things is a killjoy for you, it's likely it's going to impact the rest of them. So I think it's kind of interesting, just the process of capturing some of those first few hours. It's kind of the golden hours for most games. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we can talk about that another time, is like what looks like a really good intro to a game. I think it'd be an interesting topic to discuss.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sorry, David, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, good.
Okay. In that case, we'll just wrap it up here. And as always, thank you guys for watching or listening. If you're listening to the audio podcast, if you like this, like and subscribe to my channel, and follow my Twitter if you want us to answer any of your questions at all, or you can even ask a question in the comments below. I'll always check those out a day or two before each recording. And yeah, also, like I said before, check out the geeksundergrace.com website if you want to see content from any of us, like any of our video game reviews. And we'll call it there. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.